We have no doubt that Naoya Inoue deserves his status as the most hyped fighter in the sport of boxing right now. But Riel Casimero brings a level of violence to the ring that Inoue himself may struggle to match. Casimero is a different kind of violence merchant, and he's as dangerous as anyone in Inoue's orbit right now.
Motherfucker! No, you are no monster. You are a Chinese, Japanese turtle. No monster, man. Inoue scared me. Wow.
He's the biggest boogeyman in the division, the guy that nobody wants to fight, and yet, a time will come when he's unavoidable. This is Fighting is Art. Let's go. If there's one thing that defines Riel Casimero's fights, it's his hellacious pace. He doesn't go out there necessarily looking to outbox his opponent. No, he's gunning for the chin. And in there with Philippus, he wasted no time trying to take him out. And Philippus seemed to have no issues throwing caution to the wind and meeting Casimero head-on.
Undefeated since a unanimous decision loss.
But with an opponent like this, that might be the worst thing you can do. Casimero was already putting money in the bank with his bodywork, and that work would serve him well in the later rounds. This was still very clearly a dangerous opponent that he had in front of him, but Philippus would need to make his punches count early, that's for sure. These two had zero interest in leaving anything on the table here, and they certainly weren't holding back with their punches. Philippus was certainly having more success in this round than the first, but he was wise not to underestimate the toughness of his opponent. This fight was already heating up in this round, and the question now was just how far these two were willing to push themselves and each other. The absolute worst place you can be with Casimero in front of you is up against the ropes. Reminds you a bit of Naoya Inoue, right? If these opening rounds proved anything, it was that these two would be right there in each other's faces deep into this bout. This was a brawl in the purest sense of the word. One guy punched, then the other responded immediately after. A true back and forth. You gotta hand it to Philippus. He was pretty clearly confident in his own ability to get the job done here. This was by no means one-way traffic. Philippus was as game as can be.
Let's see if those investment shots.
The range of Philippus was an interesting challenge for Casimero to overcome, especially in this opening half of the fight. His punch mechanics were a little wild, but was clearly packing some real power in those shots. At the midway point, it didn't really seem as though either man was showing signs of slowing down at all. Then out of nowhere, the first major punch of the fight, a huge shot from Casimero that floored his target.
Casimero going in for the kill.
All of a sudden, Philippus was in survival mode. He was able to survive the onslaught though, and made sure to fire back at Casimero whenever he could.
Oh, look at him, look at him.
Casimero knew he could hurt him now though, and that's enough to fill a fighter with immense confidence.
Casimero has to capitalize here. Make it gas out.
How would the cardio of these two men hold up? That was a major question coming into these middle rounds. Casimero did appear to be taking a breather though, but he made a point of ending the round with a hellacious exchange. Casimero was clearly building towards something, perhaps realizing that he might have to deal with Philippus for all 12 rounds. In the final moments of round 8, Casimero nailed his opponent with a huge punch, and likely would have dropped him again if it wasn't for the bell. There's a real skill to knowing when the right time to take a breather is. Considering the pace these guys are fighting at, you'd be forgiven for assuming they absolutely hated one another.
3 rounds to go.
All this was, though, was healthy competitive spirit in its rawest form.
Double left uppercut by Casimero.
And these guys wanted nothing more than to get the KO.
We do know that Riel has been rolling the correct.
Yes.
They would clearly love nothing more than to cap off this performance with a huge statement knockout win.
Riel trying to throw bombs. Natumbo is answering back.
Philippus even landed a huge shot late that visibly stunned Casimero.
Today compared to that time.
Both of these guys clearly had gas in the tank. Somehow, and they knew they had to end this fight on a high note.
Big shot up top.
These guys clearly each had their big moments, but Casimero's were noticeably bigger.
100%.
11 KOs to his 12 wins as well.
In the end, there was nothing but respect between these two warriors.
Rules that a slip. The end of the fight.
But only one man would come away with the victory on the scorecards, and that man was Riel Casimero.
Congratulations,
Riel Casimero was a picture of confidence coming into this clash with Saul Sanchez, a solid opponent with a strong reputation. After a draw with Yukinori Oguni in his last fight, Casimero was in need of a big statement this time around. But if he thought that Sanchez was going to be intimidated, he thought wrong, very wrong. No, he was going out there to take on an opponent who would be gunning for chin from the opening bell. Casimero immediately went out there and started stalking his opponent, showing no regard for Sanchez's own offensive danger. Then, out of nowhere, he exploded forth, looking for the kill shot almost immediately, forcing the referee to jump in to give Sanchez a count. We're sure that Sanchez didn't think that he'd be in such dire straits this early into round one. The goal for Sanchez here was simple: survive and regain his composure, and Casimero made sure to let him start to feel comfortable again, luring him into the trap he was about to spring. Then, out of nowhere, Casimero pounced, landing a huge punch that left Sanchez flat on his back in a state of total confusion. We got to give credit to Sanchez for his will to continue, but man, this was a total mauling. And once Casimero found his moment to resume beating him up, he did. Eventually, the ref did the sensible thing and decided to put Sanchez out of his misery, knowing full well that this was only going to end one way: a stunning masterpiece in destruction from Riel Casimero, and a win that sent his hype train into overdrive. But what do you think of the rise of Riel Casimero? And do you think he honestly poses a threat to Inoue?